Good day, everyone. My topic is dark tourism planning of TIRUR. TIRUR, a town in Malappuram, a district in Kerala, holds a historical significance for its railway station incident, the wagon tragedy, and a historical festival, Mamangam. Both these incidents make this place a dark region with a potentiality for dark tourism. So, what is dark tourism? It refers to traveling to places that are associated with death and tragedy. So, there are different types of dark tourism. The ones that is shown in blue are the types of dark tourism that we see in India. So dark tourism in India is relatively a new concept and it is related to ghost towns and spooky stories. So the famous destinations are the Burj Earthquake Memorial, the Dhanushkodi site, and we have the UC Carbide Factory in Bhopal, which is proposed to be considered as a UNESCO site in 2009. So there are 24 dark destinations in India, out of which only 4 belongs to the war category and one such destination belongs to Kerala for wagon tragedy. So we have 6 main dark sites in Kerala and TIRUR holds significance for freedom struggle, that is the Malabar Rebellion. So the concept of dark tourism witnessed its birth in Kerala with the Maratha demolition when large number of people actually flocked to watch its destruction. Now, why is this project important? So the history of TIRUR even dates back to 12th century with the event Mamangam. TIRUR was the heart of the Malabar Rebellion that intensified in August 1921. That is, it has been 100 years since this event has remained forgotten. Now, it was a main event of India's freedom struggle. Now, why is it important? It is because with about 379 people dead for the Jallianwala Bagh, the biggest massacre of India, and Chauri Chauri incident where 23 people died. And in both these places, we have memorial constructed and a lot of visitors visit this place. With about 2,000 people dead in Malabar conflict and 55 alone dead in wagon tragedy, there is no memorial and younger generations fail to recognize this event in Kerala. Efforts to bring it up only resulted in political controversies. Thus, it is necessary to reflect the historical value, addressing the controversies by using tourism as a promotional tool, which will in turn educate the younger generations by remembering the event. Thus, the aim of my thesis was to develop tourism potential of Tirur through dark tourism destination planning, reflecting the historical struggles of the region that is overlooked. So we have 2 main destinations here talking in the dark aspect, that is Mamangam and Wagon Tragedy. So the event Mamangam was a great festival that was held once in 12 years. So how did it become a dark event? So this is when the so-called Chaver squad kept attacking the Zamorun of Calicut for taking the throne, and the festival came to an end in the 18th century with all the bloodshed. Now it is Tirunavaya, which is a major religious destination site where one pays last rite rituals, again, which is related to the dark category. Now, currently, there are 6 historic monuments preserved by the Kerala Archaeological Department, and we have 3 temples. Now, let's look at what's happening in the wagon tragedy area. So, the wagon tragedy coincides with the freedom struggle movements in India, as seen from the image, with the Jallianwala Bagh incident in 1919 and wagon tragedy event in 1921, both during the period of Khilafat movement. So, about 100 people were stuffed inside a wagon that traveled to Pordanur, only to be returned back to railway station with 10 with dead bodies in brutal state. So wagon tragedy is still a sensitive subject in the area due to religious conflicts. In 1971, they were declared as freedom fighters, and in 1981, a memorial was constructed, and that is the current scenario. So this is where we have the wagon tragedy, that is Tirur municipality, and this is Mamagam area, that is Tirunavai Panchayat, and both are separated by a distance of about 10 to 12 kilometers, roughly taking a time of about 30 minutes. Now, what is the tourism scenario in Kerala? Kerala is the first state in India to declare tourism as an industry, where Kerala stands 7th in India and Malappuram ranks 8th in Kerala. And Tirur is famous for its cultural heritage. Now, Malappuram is the most visited regions of the 6 regions of the Malabar as per the 2019 statistics. And the best season to visit is from August to November. Now, dark tourism suffers exploitation in 2 ways, that is unawareness of its heritage, like what is happening here, and then we have commodification and over tourism. So, tourism theory of Charbik, 1995, and Ashut's atrocity site characteristics of 2004 were studied to link destination planning and dark tourism in terms of Tirur. So, this was combined with Claire Gunn's theory on tourism planning to form the base work for Tirur destination planning in my project. That is, to increase the tourism influx and visitor satisfaction by the communication of history, to better economically integrated market zone, that is, by providing tourism circuits with potentially other destinations, sustainable use of environment by proper conservation and protection of resources, community integration by land use integration. So dark sites with historical integrity, it's fading to the extent that it can go completely extinct for a future generation, and hence it is very important to come up with projects like these where we can convey it to our younger generations. So case studies, out of all the dark destinations, only 4 are UNESCO categorized destinations, and I have chosen that for my study. So it was done so because tourism has become inevitable here, and it is important to know how the historical value is being preserved and promoted here. So the UNESCO categorized dark sites are Hiroshima, which is a nuclear site; Auschwitz, the Nazi sites. We have the Pompeii, which is a natural disaster site; and Robben Island, which is an offshore dark destination. So the conservation parameters are setting, imageability, memorialism, accessibility, and status comfort. The case study was done based on these parameters, and it was divided into 3 categories. That is what happened before the dark event, what happened after the dark event, and how the place got its tourism promotion after UNESCO recognized it. In the Indian aspect, I chose Amritsar and Varanasi for my case study. So Amritsar is a site of Jallianwala Bagh. There they promoted tourism by forming freedom trial circuits and memorials there. Um, then we have the Golden Temple, that is a temple complex which is home to countless marble plaques commemorating the Sikhs who fought in the World War I and World War II, and hence it is also related to dark side. Now, looking at Varanasi, Varanasi is it a holy city or the city of death? So, cremation grounds on other part of the end is believed to be in the fringe of the city, but in Varanasi, death is considered very auspicious and there is immense celebration. A large number of people come here to see how the rituals are done here and the celebration is done. So death is actually celebrated here, and it is for this reason that Varanasi is considered as a dark site. So we have about 1 lakh footfall at Golden Temple, 10K at Jallianwala Bagh, and 59 lakh at Varanasi just to witness these last rite rituals. So in India, we see that the dark sites are related in some or the other manner to the religious sites, and the importance of which I'll talk later. Now going to the site details. So TIRUR is located in India, in the state of Kerala, in the district of Malappuram. And Malappuram is the most populous district and the 3rd largest district by area. So we have TIRUR municipality, Tirunavaya Panchayat, separated by a distance of 10.6 to 12.2 kilometers, that is about 30 minutes. And we have 2 dark destinations, which are separated by Talakkad and Trippangood Panchayats in between. Now, in the regional setting, other destinations fall within 30-kilometer radius from the TIRUR municipality's dark sites. The violet color destinations are other touristic sites. The ones in black are other dark sites which are related to the freedom struggle or Malabar rebellion, and the entire region can be seen seen unified in the scope of dark tourism. Now let's look at the elements in a particular site of wagon tragedy in detail. So we have the wagon memorial, that is a replica of the wagon MSM LV177. We have the town hall, which is a memorial that was constructed along with the wagon. We have the railway station, which is an authentic dark site where the wagon tragedy incident happened. We have the Court Masjid and Korangat Masjid where the people were actually buried. Now just looking at the Tirur node, that is the wagon tragedy area. I'll just zoom a bit. So this gray area that you see is a railway station area, and this is an image below. As you see that the railway station holds no historical significance about the place, and the facade or the architectural character does not show anything important with respect to the railway station. The green color that you see is the Tirur Stadium, and we have a Ponnani River tourism attached to it. So this can be a boon to our dark tourism sites in order to increase the tourism potential in the area. We have 2 main junctions that is shown in the red circles. The problem with junctions is that they are always crowded. We have a main road that crosses across that railway station line. The main problem is this particular road does not have proper approach road, which leads to a high congestion. Then we have this blue area, which is a commercial market, and that is important, especially if you're trying to promote tourism in the area. We have the Korangat and Court Masjid. As you can see, the roads to these masjids are very narrow, that is about 3 meters to 5 meters, and they go through residential areas. The character does not show any significance of historical importance or that a major event has happened here, and this has to be really addressed. Now let's go to Mamanga memorials. So these are Kerala archaeologically protected monuments, and we have the Manikannar where the soldiers were crushed down by elephants. We have the Nalabadthara, that is the actual venue of Mamangam, and we have the Merunara where the soldiers actually kept their war weapons. So these 3 are actually clustered together. We have the Channapalla Kalari where the soldiers were trained for wars. We have the Padka Mandapam where the king actually sat and saw the Mamangam, and then we have the Tirunavaya temple. And one notable point is, so this is the Tirunavaya temple where that's Vishnu temple, and opposite bank we have the Shiva and the Brahma temple. And this region is called as a Trimurti Sangama. That is similar to the concept that we have in Varanasi. That is why I have chosen Varanasi for my case study. This makes it a very holy region in the terms of Tirunavaya River. Now let's look at the potentials and the constraints of this site, and we see that the junctions exhibit a rural character and they are not so developed. Though all these monuments are really protected by the archaeological department, the character doesn't show anything like that. All the roads to the monuments are very narrow and most are not even tarred. We don't even identify that such an important monument lies over here. Another problem is most of these buildings are overshadowed by other government buildings, which needs to be removed so that we get a proper view of the archaeologically preserved monuments right from the main road. As you can see, the facade details or the entry gateways to the monuments are in such a pathetic shape. One fails to understand that it's a monument that's behind it, and this has to be addressed. Another issue is the Padukka Mandapam. Entry is restricted to a particular religious group in this area because it is connected to the Tirunavaya temple. So a different access route needs to be given if we are trying to promote tourism in this area so that people from different caste, creed, or religion could visit all the monuments that are historically important to Kerala. Okay, now let us see how the site has been delineated. So they are grouped together based on two theories of GOVT, that is attraction and spatial relationship theory and geographical pattern of destinations. We have two main spots, that is Tirunavaya and TIRUR, and in between destinations. So as per the theory, sites in TIRUR and Tirunavaya are compatible cluster and in between sites are distant complementary. So based on geographical pattern of destination, we see that TIRUR forms a base camp with radial pattern and Mamagam monuments are trip chaining and Talakka tourist spots are en route destinations. So base camp, and we have monuments, trip chaining monuments and en route destinations. I'll explain this in detail later. So site delineation, the site delineated include one municipality and three panchayats, that is Tirunavaya municipality, Talakka, Trippangoda, Tirunavaya panchayats. Tirur and municipality and Tirunavaya panchayat are my authentic dark sites. Talakkad panchayat and Trippangoda panchayat that holds secondary importance with respect to my study. The total area 65.38 square kilometers with a population of about 1,48,000. And we see that the Tirur municipality is a first order urban settlement. We also see that they are proposed to be identified as major urban centers by the year 2021 by the district urbanization report. We also see that there's a shift towards tertiary workers, which means there is a potentiality to increase tourism in the area. Now, looking at the Tirur municipalities alone, we see that the land use is mainly residential with the concentration of commercial activity right in the center. We have the railway line passing through it and the state highway cutting across it, which means that there's a railway station and the bus node and the commercial center, making it a very high dense zone in the region. Now, according to the Indian pedestrian capacity value, the permissible or the threshold value for lateral movement is 800 pt per hour. Here, the value shows about 2124 per hour, which means it has really exceeded the threshold limit. And we have to consider about this because we are going to promote a tourism development plan. So tourism traffic is inevitable, and one has to be really considerate about this. Another important point is Tirur railway station is the first railway line of Kerala, and it doesn't show any significance of all that in this particular region. Now, so the site was studied based on the 5 A's of tourism, and it was related to the dark tourism planning parameters, that is attraction with authenticity, access with connectivity, activities with land use, and accommodation and amenities with social inclusion. So as said earlier, so Tirur forms a base camp and Mamagam forms a trip chaining destinations with all other destinations in between as en route destinations. Distance is about 10.6 kilometers, that is roughly taking about 18 to 30 minutes. So this is our major dark node. We have 5 major junctions here shown in dark green, and that is a major road that we take to connect these destinations. We also see that there are several other parks and religious places distributed in this region. Yes, and that is the Tirunavaya river right to the south of it. Okay, so the proximity of green spaces is important next to the dark side because it helps to calm down our hurtful feelings. And it was a technique that was used by Kenzo Tange in the planning of Hiroshima, which is a dark city. We have the proximity to religious places, which is again another boon to the site because death is always associated with prayers and good wishes. And these are calming energies for the future. Now, the site was value zoned as per URDPFI guidelines into 3 zones. That is, the red is a high value zone for preservation, blue is a native zone for economic development, and green is a new infrastructure zone for new development. And the yellow area, that which includes the Talakkad and Trippangood Panchayat, is it's a secondary connecting developing area. Another notable point is there are no KTDC or DTDC or any tourist homes in this region, in spite of Tirur being a primary destination town of Malappuram. Now, dark scaling. So dark scaling was done based on 2 characters, that is dark spectrum and darkometer ratings by Philip Stone. So according to the dark spectrum, Mamanga belongs to the darker category and Wagon Tragedy belongs to the lighter category. That is, sites of death and sufferings and sites associated with death and suffering. The main difference is the planning is focused towards a preservation site in the darker category, and the planning is focused with the promotional site in the lighter category. Now, as per the darkometer rating, TIRUR falls in 1:3 rating only, that it is not that dark such that it can cause any trauma or anything. Now, based on the tourism area life cycle theory by Butler in 1980, all the dark tourism sites in India are just in the exploration level, which means we have a lot of potential that can be done to involve these projects for development before it reaches any stagnation or decline or rejuvenation. Now, what's the tourism expectancy that I'm expecting for this project is, in the domestic category, I'm trying to link it with the heritage tourism of Kerala. We have about 37 heritage sites in Kerala. And well, also in the character of Malabar tourism, that is the North Kerala tourism, we can connect dark tourism along with it. Now, the national character, I'm trying to link it with the dark tourism sites in India. The second is by connecting it with the India's freedom struggle from the south. As you can see, we have 24 dark sites in India with an average number of visitors of 15K. We have 15 freedom sites in India with a visitor count of about 80K. And as you can notice, we do not have any site in both these characters from South India. So it is projects like these that would actually push the image of South India or Kerala into the map of dark tourism sites of India or freedom sites of India, so that the contribution of South is really recognized here. So what is the current scenario here is, so we have 3,000 people visiting the Tirunavaya temple, only 2.5% of people actually visit the Mamanga monuments. We have 500 people coming to visit the cultural museum, that is Tunjamparambil, but just 4 people visit the Wagon Tragedy memorial. So this is because about 60% of people are uninformed that archaeological monuments exist over there, and about 78% of people are unaware about its history. So from the survey, it was found that 93% actually showed interest in developing tourism, and 73% wanted this to be effectively portrayed and conveyed to the younger generations. A comparative study was done of international and national case studies to understand how many visitors would visit this place and what's the duration of stay. And we found that it's about 10K to 15K after development, and the duration of stay would be just 2 days maximum. Now, let's go to the proposals and strategies. So UNESCO sites are valued based on 4 parameters, that is location, setting, feeling, and association, which has sub-parameters. And based on that, TIRUR is classified in falling into 3 categories, that is confined small areas, unnoticed dark character, and educating dark sites. So the constraints are, there is no structure that conveys the history of the event or the place. That hence the proposal 1 is to convey the historical importance through monumentalism and memorialism. Now, the constraint 2 is, it is not a notable destination in the Kerala tourism image. Proposal 2 is to promote a touristic image of the site by team or tourist facilities or by linking the existing tourism potential site. Constraint 3 is, the dark elements are scattered and they need to be connected or unified together by rules or symbolically, etc. So proposal 3 is to improve the connectivity to the dark sites by walkability, junction development, or alternate destination routes, etc. Constraint 4 is rational commercial land use, that is improper planning in the region that is destroying the historical significance. Hence, proposal 4 is to bring a sense of place, that is by yearly events or social interactions, etc. Now, I'll address the proposal specifically to a region and then towards a whole. Right now, we are focusing on the Wagon Tragedy area, that is the TIRUR municipality, and that is based on base camp and trip training method. This is an active destination node-based proposal. So, so first is the railway station revamp. That is a Black Area's existing railway station. We are proposing a railway museum to communicate the historical age events and connect it to this railway. Traveling passengers can come to the museum and communicate the historical events and actually know about this place. So the orange area is a proposed parking for the museum. The existing railway parking is sufficient. That is this orange area. The blue region is a commercial area which is proposed to be completely pedestrianized like the commercial streets in Bangalore. So this region is a boon for tourism shopping. So the green is a major landscape area where I'm proposing to club the Ponnani River tourism and that stadium with the memorial hall. Hence, a museum is proposed to communicate about the wagon tragedy and the entire area's landscape to be unified as a whole. So the yellow is proposed as the accommodation area. So currently there are different touristic homes and apartments here, but with less than 10% occupancy. This is because after the 2018 floods, people do not opt to live here. So we are proposing a condition where the flat owners could actually rent these places in the peak seasonal areas to the tourists. So this can be a benefit to the tourists as well as to the flat owners. Now we are proposing some parks and pedestrian pathways next to all those Kot Masjid and Korangat Masjid where the people are buried. That is by connecting the green spaces and religious spaces to a dark destination. So this is our junction. So I'll explain with this image. So I'm proposing an alternate route to connect all these dark destinations. I'm not using the State Highway 71 because it's already exceeding the threshold limit. So this is an alternate route that is suggested, and this is the Tunjambarba Memorial Museum. So we are trying to use that as a focus point to gather our visitors and then spread them to all these dark destinations. This complete area that is shaded will remain pedestrianized by connecting the railway station, the museums, and the commercial node. The junctions will undergo development in order to hold the touristic influx. Now let's go to the Tirunavaya's proposal. So here we have 3 monuments that are clustered around a junction, and that is proposed as a main point. A museum is proposed in this area to communicate about its history, and then people can travel to the nearby monuments. The government buildings are blocking the monuments, and it has to be shifted, and a direct access has to be given from the road to all these monuments. So both the junctions has to be developed to address increased traffic with historical significance. The route to the destinations has to connect the places symbolically and architecturally. So the yellow region here has new flats coming up in the name of river facing resorts and rooms. So probably in the future they can develop into a major accommodation area. So orange area is existing parking ground. We are proposing to use the entire ground for parking for tourists. Now the blue region will be the main commercial point for shopping, and the junctions will develop accordingly. So the separate access is given to the Padukka Mandapam so that people coming from any religions could actually access this temple. So this is access from the main road that we are proposing here. And we are proposing a park next to the river so that it's all connected with the dark sites, and people really feel it's a tourist destination site. Another main proposal is I'm proposing to connect a bridge here that is connecting the Tirunavaya temple and the Shiva and Brahma temple on the other side. So this proposal is important not just in the dark tourism aspect but for Tirunavaya as a whole. Right now, in order to cross from Tirunavaya to Tavanur, one has to take the Kuttipuram Valanjeri route or the Chamravatam bridge, which is about 18 to 15 kilometers apart. So a bridge through this direction would actually connect these places. It can be a boon for religious tourism connecting the temples. It can be an economic boon for the residents over there. And we can actually propose a condition where one can watch the sunset from that bridge, providing a sunset spot on the Tirunavaya river. So these are the proposals based on the travel time, that is en route tourism, that is that a tourist can actually visit all the dark sites by going through the in-between tour sites, or they can just visit the dark sites alone. So if you're going through all the sites, we have about 12.7 kilometers. Otherwise, we just have about 11 kilometers, that is distant complementary attractions. Then we have the heritage circuit and the recreational circuit. So both these proposals are aimed towards students or the younger generations. So heritage circuit is like where I'm connecting the dark heritage and the cultural heritage. So all the museums and all the dark destinations will be connected so that one can really understand the heritage of that place rather than just the dark character. Here, recreational circuit is where I'm connecting all the parks, all the rivers, and all the dark destinations. So the aim is this can be used by universities or schools where they can take their students for one-day trip, because students really won't be very much attracted to know the dark character or the museum. So in order to divert their concentration, giving some parks like this can really improve their chance of seeing the place and learning about the place. Thereby we are also successful in educating them about the history of the place. Now, in the regional context, we have the Nila tourism project. That is it was in this project where the Mamanga monuments uh, underwent a revival in 2010, and other phases coming up in 2021. We have the Malabar Literary Circuit, which is the first literary circuit in India. Through that, I'm trying to connect all the museums or the libraries, all the research, etc., where we can know about the history of the place and the dark character about Wagon Tragedy or Mamangam, and hence educate the younger generation. We have the Malabar River Cruise Project, February 2021. Right now, Tirunavai is not included in that project, but probably in future, if it is included, it can be such a boon to Tirunavaya as a place, and definitely to my proposal of dark tourism. And then we have the Malabar Tourism Dark Circuit, which I had said earlier, where we can connect all the dark destinations of the Malabar rebellion and develop this place. So through this project, the concept of dark tourism is highlighted in Kerala and of course in South India. The project tries to highlight the history of freedom struggle and brings out the contribution of the South, educating the younger generation, thus making a socially relevant impact. Rather than preservation, the project focuses on the development of the region as a whole through dark tourism. So this project can mark Tirur on the tourist map of the state and the nation as well. The project can be a potential development ripple for the district of Malappuram as a whole. So the main objective for handling the historical past is to talk about its need for conservation to its host network. And for this, we need to go through protection, conservation, interpretation, and the presentation of the historical past in a proper way where every human can really understand. So the end note is, if an encounter with a dark city results in a deeper understanding of the events, combined with a sense of hope inspired by the development of the rebuilt city through tourism, then darkness itself can perhaps be the source of light. The way how a tourist perceives the site and what he learns from the site depends on what the site has to offer. And that's why dark tourism planning is important for the historically important city of Tirur. And that is it with my presentation. Thank you so much for your time. These are my references. Thank you.